Well, how's it going, guys? So, hard to believe that Wrestlemania is going to be on Saturday in two parts in an empty arena. Um, I've really, toyed with the idea of not even bothering. I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to, use the old 10-second thing on the network and kind of make this WrestleMania experience go by a little bit quicker, if you know what I'm saying, right? Just to I mean, man, they are saying that this Mania is going to be longer than ever. That's pretty much because of the pre-shows, but it's pretty standard, right? Each Mania is supposed to have like a 3.5 hour, well, each part of Mania is supposed to have a 3.5 hour runtime, something along those lines. So it's going to be a 7 hour show. Is that what they're going for? I don't know. Everything is rumored at this point. Something that I'm finding very bizarre is that even though pretty much the entire internet knows that Roman Reigns is not going to be participating in the match with Goldberg, it's going to be Braun Strowman, they're avoiding this announcement. I was looking on their website and they're really holding off on, for some reason, admitting this. Roman Reigns is posting videos on Instagram about it. And they still, even though they already knew that match was not going to take place, Mania was taped. And yes, well, SmackDown was taped too, but they already knew that they weren't going to have that match. And I talked about that in the SmackDown review. I thought that was kind of odd that they decided to make that decision. Why go ahead and promote a match that you damn well know that you're not going to have on the show? Edit it out, make a change, throw a video package in there or something, with an announcement. I don't get it. I understand time was of the essence because they were going to shut you down, and that was probably more the reason to not have this show at all. I can't believe that we're at a part where we're actually going to rush Mania out. And really, what are they getting out of this Mania? They had to refund everybody's tickets. I don't know what sponsors they really have left. Every type of entertainment, sports entertainment shows in general, just on TV, have shut down production. But as I said, Vince McMahon has got to keep on trucking. And I'm not going to repeat myself. I've been saying this now for several weeks, that they've been doing these empty arena shows. So we start off with The Undertaker cutting a promo. And right off the bat, you see the difference between someone like Undertaker, someone like Edge, as compared to a lot of the other talents. We'll see Becky Lynch, Cringy Lynch, cutting a promo. And you see the differences here of what's good and what's bad. Now, as far as the content of this promo, AJ Styles, Taker talks about how Michelle McCool had gotten the faith breaker over, in the WWE, when Styles couldn't. And I don't think anyone even remembers what Michelle McCool's finisher was. That was a little bit of an odd mention right there. I didn't, I kind of knew what he was talking about. I remember when she did do that move, and I was like, oh, that's AJ Styles from TNA's move. But, the fact that they're, counting on people to remember that move. And also, Taker has got the biker vibe going on here, which I like. But, once again, this is a boneyard match. Also, the tombstones. Also, I really gotta say, if you go and watch Vince Russo's podcast where they reviewed Raw and SmackDown from last week, Ben Amin had a good point. All this grim stuff with the tombstones, it's not the right time for this, especially when they're really when you've got so much going on and they're just not acknowledging the world outside. It really kind of shows just how clueless they are and how inept they are at realizing a real world situation, and just it's supposed to be an escape, right? That's the argument they keep making. Oh, people need an escape. People need an escape. Like they're putting on like a good show here or something. Like they're doing God's work, and it's nothing but that. It couldn't be anything but that. It really is just honestly like the most out of touch people putting on a show that's not only awful, but just, you look at it and you're like, do these people even understand what's going on? They don't. To answer that simple question, they have no idea what's going on. They know, but they're like, Vince McMahon is just leading the charge and saying like, not even disease is gonna stand in my way. I mean, it's pathetic. It really is. I look at that and I don't even find it funny. I find it really pathetic. I find it disturbing. It's alarming that this man just can't seem to get over himself already and realize that, there are such a thing as current events, real world events that affect people. It's bad enough you've had numerous people pulling out of your show. One of which I'm not really too sure of. We're going to talk about that a little later on. But anyway, we've got, Taker cutting this promo. I couldn't help but feel like there wasn't really a lot here to make AJ look good. He calls him short. He says that he stole a girl's finisher. It's just, I don't know. Taker, the delivery was good, but like the content, like you could just tell this is just not something that would come out of Taker's mouth normally. I mean, he made it work as well as it possibly could have. Then they show the triple threat match from last year's Mania. And this was a match that, most people agreed, wasn't the best. I remember when I reviewed this match, I said it wasn't plain awful, but it was like I was not in the mood for it at the time. It came on after a super long Mania that was just awful, with just a lot of just really boring matches and like nothing memorable happening on the show. It was the show that basically led me to take, almost 6 months off from the product and not review anything. So it was pretty bad. And most people were actually saying the show was pretty good, which you could kind of see where I'm kind of, opposed to the views of many other fans. So it goes without saying that, that this is a match that, of course we're going to revisit because it's Becky Lynch's big moment. It's where she won that title. And I had forgotten. See, this is the thing. I had forgotten about that botched finish. And as I was looking through Wade Keller's review, this guy actually has the balls to say that, that was the intended finish. Oh, it was a controversial, and it's like, Wade, you always bash controversial finishes. If there's one type of finish that Wade Keller doesn't like, and you could go back and look at his body of work, he doesn't like those run-in finishes. He doesn't like screw job finishes. He doesn't like any of that. He likes a nice, clean finish. That's what Wade likes, a nice, clean finish with some crisp moves. That's what Wade's into. He's always been into that. So the fact that he's sitting there praising this match, giving this match 4 1/4 stars, I don't know what he gave it last time. I kind of forgot, but this time when he re-reviewed it, this is what he reviewed. This was his rating, 4 1/4 stars. Now I know we don't do star ratings on this channel. We stopped doing that. And I think people could kind of remember the timeline here for long-time subscribers on this channel. It was when I rated Nakamurphy and Sami Zayn in NXT, and that was the last time that I watched a full NXT. And people lost their minds when I put that review out, and they bashed me to hell, saying I didn't know what I was talking about. And that was if people noticed a shift in my attitude on this channel, that was the part where I was I gotta completely break off from the smarts. I'm like, this is no good. I have to, completely distance myself from these goofballs. And, when people started saying, oh, the channel was changing and everything, it was more of me kind of wising up and seeing, like, I don't like this type of wrestling. I don't like this form of entertainment. I think it's bad. I think it's crummy, and it's not something I'm into. And, people said it was like the best thing ever. So, but do you think that triple threat match at Mania is worthy of that high of a star rating? Because I'll tell you something, especially with that type of finish, I do not think so at all. Then we've got the cringy one herself coming out, on the entrance ramp, cutting a promo. And, this is the part where we kind of have to dissect what Becky Lynch is, like, kind of doing here. This, like, super serious, like, almost cartoonish facial expressions that she does, and talking like this, like, just, it's always just very animated and in a poor way, because that's kind of, like, not what she's going for. She's trying to be serious, she's trying to be a badass, but it's like she's failing on all cylinders. It just, every single moment that passes in that promo of hers, to me, it just gets worse and worse, and I get taken out of it. And I'm looking at all the weird mannerisms she does. It's like, it's so obvious that it's like she's trying to hold it together. Kind of like a science project with like chewing gum and paper clips. It's just like it's about to fall apart at any moment. And we can kind of see, disaster on the horizon for Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, is there, I think they're going to get married or whatever it is going to be that they're planning on doing. They're going to take some time off to enjoy one another. Like, oh my God, like, I already said this, like, at the beginning of last year. How funny is it that those two got together? Like, those two that are made for each other. Probably the two most overrated stars of all time. Two of the most overrated by the Smarks. Two wrestlers that think that they're awesome, that think that they're great, that think they're like, God tier. And they get together, and it's like some of the most cringy stuff you've ever seen, it kind of speaks for itself. So Becky is cutting this promo. It's like, that she thinks like what she's saying here is good, but it's such hot garbage. And it's like, it's a promo where I noticed, like, she tries to speak real slow. She tries to do the whole Jake Roberts deal of being really methodical in her words and the vocabulary she's using. But it's so obviously scripted, and it's already sounding bad. And, like I said, like, Taker, the content's not there, but the delivery is. Here, the content is bad, and the delivery is bad. It's better than Bayley, but that's not really saying a whole lot. You know what I mean? You can be, bad, and then you could be a complete disaster like that, Bayley. So I guess you'd rather just be bad. That would be better than being a disaster. So she's better than Bayley, guys. If you're a cringy Lynch fan, at least I'm saying that here in the review. So she's cutting this promo, and from behind, Shayna Baszler grabs her in the rear naked choke, bashes her head into the announce table. And I don't know why the announce table is up there now. Kind of really makes no sense for them to be over there, but then I guess it would make just as much sense as them being at ringside. I don't know. But like, once again, just like last week, how are you sneaking up behind somebody in an empty arena? Do you not hear footsteps? Do you not hear breathing? You could hear a pin drop in there. There's not a sound. It's a closed set, for God's sakes. And like, I'm sitting here watching this, and of course you'll say suspend your disbelief, but like, I'm suspending my disbelief for the whole show because I can't believe just how crummy it is. Whole thing is just so big time garbage, and I can't believe it. It's like, this is the go home show for Wrestlemania for Raw. And also, like, Lynch's like sell on this, like, bash on the table, or head bashing on the table. she made like this cartoonish sound effect. Even when she was in the rear naked choke, it's like, this is not like Looney Tunes. You're not an animated character. You're not doing a voiceover, Becky. You realize that you're supposed to be a wrestler and you're supposed to be believable. It's like, I'm telling you, this girl was 10 times better when she was just a plain Jane doing the steampunk gimmick that didn't even make any sense. Now it's like she's got to be all cringy and be a try-hard. And see, that's the worst thing. Because we all know, even outside of this product, that being a try-hard is the absolute worst, cringiest thing that someone could do. That's being a try-hard. Really just like trying way too hard to like try to like pattern down, all that, every single like fundamental, but getting everything wrong. Like, oh, you think you got your promos good, don't you, Becky? Those are bad. You think you got your skills down. Oh, you botch a lot. You know what I mean? Like, your delivery is bad. Everything is bad, and it really is. It's like every single time she comes out on the stage, I groan because I just know it's going to be a segment. It's going to be a promo. And I have to really just ask the question, who is enjoying this? Who are the cringy Lynch fans? Because there's a lot of them. And I can't really see what it is. She's the 36th girl who's claiming to be responsible for the women's revolution. And, is it Charlotte? Is it AJ Lee? Is it Paige? Every day of the week it's a different answer. Is it Charlotte? Is it Sasha Banks? Is it Bayley? No one seems to know. But most people seem to credit cringy Lynch for some reason. And it's like, she doesn't deserve this praise. If anything, she actually brought this down. The moment they started pushing her with this gimmick being the man, it's just really just started to fall apart big time. And it became unbearable because there was actually some decent stuff in there with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. But then, this whole Becky Lynch thing also completely derailed the Ronda Rousey train. And a lot of that had to do with WWE's booking of her. But, like, they gave up on Ronda, and had her, like, look weak at moments to cringy Lynch. And I have to ask myself, was it all worth it? Like, here they are, they're planning to put Shayna Baszler over cringy Lynch. And, not to knock Shayna, she's got some upsides to her too. But it seems like they're actually valuing Shayna Baszler over Ronda Rousey. And I know I can't be the only one that thinks that. Like, they're actually gonna put Shayna over Becky. And it's like Ronda deserves so much more. And that whole pedigree that she brought along with her, it was like it was a joke. And it was so obvious that, they wanted to make a fool out of her. It was, they wanted to be her friend and everything. It was kind of like the story in the beginning. You remember the story when Ronda Rousey came in? And I might be going off on a little bit of a tangent, but let's do that here because there's not really a lot to talk about here on this show. Ronda came into this company and she, like, remember the whole story with Triple H and Stephanie, and they were pretending to be her friends, but then they were, like, talking behind her back. That's what, like, Kurt Angle said, and it turned out that was actually her shoot. That was for real, and, they ruined Ronda from that point on. How dare you come into our world? We're going to show you what fake wrestling is all about. It was a total embarrassment. They ended up only hurting themselves in the end. Then we get Aleister Black defeating a jobber. He sits down in the ring. Same thing as last week. The jobber goes, "What is he doing?" Then he gets up and gives them the black mass. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits defeated Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, and who else did they team with here? Oh, and Garza. I forgot to write down the name, but like I put down Andrade and they crossed it off. Andrade supposedly has busted ribs, if you want to believe that. Yeah, sure. I don't think that that's the proper diagnosis. We probably know really what happened there. Really, seriously, did another person, call out sick from WrestleMania? I believe so. I don't think that it's broken ribs. This guy just got back. I doubt that he got injured, right after a wellness policy violation. This is ridiculous, though. I mean, how many guys have pulled out of this? And to just elaborate on that a little bit further, because I'm not waiting to the SmackDown review to talk about this. You've got The Miz showing up sick, putting everybody at risk also, and they're still going to do the show. You've got, spoilers, so, like, stop the video right now if you don't want to hear them. But I heard, they're also filming multiple finishes, so this might not even happen. One of the Usos is going to go one-on-one with John Morrison in a ladder match for the tag title. So it's going to be a singles match for the tag titles. How many people have pulled out of this thing already? Your main event has been ruined already, and you're still going to keep going with it. So this Austin Theory guy, like, I know he's getting popular and everything, and I don't know, I guess he was big on the indies or something. I had heard of him. But this guy, I know that I'm going to get, crap for this. But does this guy not look like a more muscular Finn Balor? They got the same face. The same face, guys. I mean, honestly, like, this guy, he has a pretty impressive physique for a smaller talent. And he's definitely more muscular than Finn Balor, but he looks exactly like him. The same beard, that doesn't have like the good mustache to go along with it. He's got the fade on the sides. It's the same haircut, the same beard. It's almost like Finn Balor is like cosplaying as another wrestler so he could get back on the main roster. First of all, it's like anyone watching this is like, who's Austin Theory? Just all of a sudden just pops out of nowhere replacing another wrestler. Like, I mean, guys, really, at this point, you have to stop and realize, like, how many guys are going to fall by the wayside until you realize we shouldn't be having this show. And everything is already done. I get it. These were already taped beforehand. They already had these in the can ready to go. But, I mean, why did we go on? Why did, it still took time to tape these shows? You knew what risk you were running. And you still did it even after The Miz showed up sick. And you found out about Dana Brooke and all of these people pulling out. Oh my god. Anyway, after this is all said and done, Kevin Owens cuts a way too long promo. Wade Keller is praising it as genius. I'm just like, okay, Owens is saying he's going to get his Mania moment. He's been on the main roster since 2015. And he's finally going, after half a decade, he's going to get his Mania moment. Wow. Edge cuts a promo. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling any of these promos. It was more like wasn't in the mood for them. Like, just kind of cutting another promo to the camera again. No interaction. Just, he's willing to go through a flaming table and just like, nothing new here. Nothing exciting. Not bad. Better than listening to cringy Lynch. But like, seriously, like, just having these promos, like, just talking to the camera, it's boring, really. There's nothing there. And I really felt like just the same thing with the Orton promo. There's not really a whole lot to say, because nothing's really developed in the story, so they don't really have a lot to talk about. Oh, you're a junkie. We're all junkies. Okay, we're, great. I don't really know. Like, there's not really even a lot I could say about this. I mean, Edge just pretty much says that Orton is wrong and he's gonna, prove why he's right. Like, what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. Edge is fiery. He's got the delivery and everything. But, like, the show is just so drab and boring and devoid of life. It's like, you can't really expect these guys to even give it their all. But, yeah, Taker, Edge, Don't get me wrong, all these guys are giving it the best they can under the given circumstances, but it's just more proof. Just like, shut it down, guys. We're not even getting anything that great here. Asuka defeated Cade and Carter. Asuka was pretty entertaining. I'm enjoying the dancing around and her yelling at the top of her lungs. You know, okay, it was just, it was a match. There was nothing really much to say here. Even the commentators, not even a lot of build. I get it, we're trying to be careful about which wrestlers we use where, but see, this is what I don't get. Like, it's okay to have certain wrestlers around each other at one time. You could have a 6-man tag, for example, but you can't have like 2 wrestlers just talking to one another. Like, it should have just been the promo show. I don't get it. They're using local talent. I don't get what the rules are, really. But as I said, instead of having to worry about all this, we shouldn't have even had the show in the first place. Instead of worrying about telling stories, we could tell stories, or tell them poorly is more like it. In 3 months and see where we're at. How about that? No, it's like, no, we got to get the show out right now. We got to do it right now. But we're not ready for this show. We don't have our talent here. WrestleMania is right around the corner. This is gonna look like a joke, and they don't care. They do it anyway. Then we get Charlotte beating up Rhea Ripley in the parking lot, and what I mean by this is just her kind of lightly kicking her from off screen. Like, sometimes I even wonder, was that her leg, or was it just kind of like a fake leg on a stick? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm saying it was just like this one little weak kick, sending her like careening into this shutter, and then we're supposed to like believe like this will keep her down. She doesn't go after her. She goes, "I'll see you at WrestleMania." Rhea Ripley goes, "Yeah, well, like we will," or something like that. Like, that's it. That's all we're getting. Like, I get it. It's like, why are they limiting the contact there, but in the ring it's all all in. Like I said, I'm all for them all just social distancing and keeping away from one another. But I'm saying, but if you're gonna like break rules in one part, like, then you're not gonna do it in another part. If Rhea Ripley could at least just chase after Charlotte. No one says she actually has to catch her, but she's laying there like, yeah. So it's just like Rhea Ripley punching Charlotte in the mouth. She just kind of like sits there and like smiles. What, like, does anyone act like a human being anymore on these shows? They just lay there, rub their face, smile, and Rhea Ripley smiles too. Everyone's just, it's just a big game to everyone. It's just a big joke. Haha, you hit me. It's really hilarious, when another wrestler hits another one. Hey. Really, it's just all about having fun, Mago. Remember that? It's all about having a good time. And we wrap things up with, first we show Lesnar and Rey Mysterio, which is probably the most random thing I've ever seen. I know we're about to see Brock and Heyman cut a promo, but what does Rey Mysterio, who's another guy who had to be quarantined, who is sick, they're showing his match of all people against Brock Lesnar. So a guy who's not even going to be on Mania. And Brock, like, what does this even have to do with anything? Can you tell me? Anyway, so they go on to the promo at the end. And it's basically business as usual. Heyman cuts the promo. It's the same thing. Brock Lesnar, this and that. Like, I mean, really, it's like Heyman should just stop wasting his breath. Honestly, have this stuff like already recorded and played over the PA or something. Why are you having Heyman coming out there every single week just so he could cut the same promo that he's been cutting since 2014? You guys do realize that, right? That this is a guy who's been cutting this promo for even longer than that. He's been cutting the same promo since 2012, 2013. I mean, 7, 8 years already. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, I'm begging for something new, something unique to be entered. Why? I don't get it. Why during every promo does he need to introduce himself? Say the same exact thing where he lists off who's Brock has beaten. I think we remember from the last promo. It's basically the same audience watching every week, so I don't really see the point of repeating yourself over and over like people are going to forget. It's not like the New Age Outlaws introduction. It's not something that good. And unless I believe that some people actually like it. They like doing, he likes doing it for the house and people like saying it along with him, but once again, we're in an empty arena. And I did like that everyone, at least tonight, was looking into the camera. Okay, most of these promos took, place in little vignettes. So Edge and Taker didn't really have a choice. I mean, they would know better not to, appeal to a crowd. But at least you didn't have anything like Elias turning to the crowd or Bayley and Sasha, trying to talk to an imaginary crowd and trying to make fun of the fact that there's no audience. Anyway, this is Mania season, people. Look, I understand. It's not their fault for, having a crappy build, but let's face it, guys, I'll say during this time, because they were going to have a crappy build no matter what. And that's just sad. It truly is. Because, this would be understandable based on the situation. But this really is just business as usual for them. I mean, honestly, search your feelings here. Look at the last year's Mania. Look at the Mania before that. Didn't those Manias have bad build too? I ask a question. What's the difference? Really, what is the difference between this and what we got last year? Is it truly any worse when you think of it from a build-up perspective? No, it's not. It's about just as on par. It's just been more boring due to, no one being around to care. It truly doesn't matter because, it's kind of like the old saying. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound. It's kind of like if anyone in this arena cuts a crappy promo and no one's around to hear it, did it really happen? In a lot of ways, it didn't. It just feels very non-existent, and people are probably not even tuning into this. They're tuning out of these shows in droves. No one's interested, whether it's AEW or it's WWE. It just looks stupid. It looks dumb being in an empty arena. There's no entertainment to be had here. It looks sad. It looks desperate. It looks like they're clinging to life. It looks like they're on life support. And the fact is that this is not supposed to be a time of WWE being on life support. It's supposed to be a time of them loving life as they rake in their millions of dollars in profits over, the gigantic spectacle that is WrestleMania. But they're not going to do that. There's not going to be really any profits to really speak of any major consequence. I'm really just stunned that we're at this point where we are right now. And you would think with normal human beings, they would have shut this down just like everyone else, just like the normal human beings in MLB. Just like the normal human beings in the NHL and all the other sports organizations. In the UFC. It's but here, when it's Tony Khan and Vince McMahon, all bets are off. It's time to just completely remove our brains and our common sense and just do what wrestling fans want, and that's give them wrestling. Sad. Really sad. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click the bell when you get so you get all the notifications when I post on my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons, and guys, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.